Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. Today we have a one-off race with the new content that came out in yesterday's version 1.2 update for the Mon Ultimate. We are of course at the circuit Paul Ricard in France with the new Ginetta LMP3. We're just about getting to qualifying. Welcome. Sorry, I was just eating some fish fingers before we got started. How much fuel? It's going to be no more than 5 laps. Let's head out. So yes, Paul Ricard, a new track coming to the Mon Ultimate and second LMP3 to be added to the game. But sort of a key thing for the LMP3 class is the tyres have been reworked a bit. Specifically on the cold end. And we're going to notice that here a bit as we start qualifying. The car doesn't have as much understeer as it used to, and these are cool temperatures. 13 degrees ambient. You know, so it's not like, oh, the tire's nice and warm, you know, nice warm ambient and track temp to really, you know, so you're not running the tire through the coldest phase as much. No, it's cold, quite cold. And the tire certainly doesn't feel as bad as it used to do. Though something, I think the tire might, in general, maybe be a little bit softer. The LMP3 tire, it was awful on the cold temperatures out of the pits without tire warmers. Certainly felt worse than the other classes did on cold tires. But then, as you went through stint, it was good on the warm. When you warmed the tires up, it was good. But there's very little tire wear. That, I feel like tire wear has been increased a little bit. Now, I've only driven the Ginetta. I've not driven the Ligier again, or Ligier, however you pronounce it, that we got initially in the first ELMS pack alongside Silverstone. I've not driven it since the update. And I've only driven the Ginetta at Paul Ricard so far. So there's some variables in there. But those are my general feelings at the moment. With how the update has changed. So Paul Ricard then, heading down to T1. Nice long pit exit, which is good in the race. Break in by the 100-meter board for the first chicane. It is the same like the F1 used to use. Don't run too wide as you want to open up the second part of the chicane. More speed you can carry through there, more time you'll find on the run towards turn 3. Braking just after the 100 board here. Through the car in, quite open, but times up into this left-hander. You want to keep the car on the left again. Open up this really tight, awkward right-hander. Car will get a little bit unsettled with the inside curb, but you want to try and carry some momentum out through this long right-hander. Build speed up, keep it to the right side. Open up this little left-hander. Will be easy flat out, but you don't want to scrub off any more speed than necessary. As we get into long Mistral Straight. Luckily, if you do have a bad exit, it won't be punished too harshly. Braking by 120 meters for the chicane. Sorry, I've got a crumb in my throat. Through the chicane of the Mistral Straight. Breaks up the straight quite nicely. And then we have the long right-hander. You can't get flat out if you get the line exactly right, though. I find it's quite difficult to get the line right on this game. Maybe that's just being on an LMP3 versus a GT3 in ACC. Into the final sector, this is where the track gets a bit awkward. You've got these long tightening corners. This left-hander is especially difficult. Then just 2 corners to go now. Down third gear for the penultimate corner, so keep the car in. Open up the final corner, really slow corner. You can use the exit curb, it's pretty flat. So you do want to try and use that to carry as much momentum onto the start finish straight as you possibly can. Line very late on the straight. And then we go for another lap. Track limits I haven't fully explored yet. There's some places where it definitely seems a little lenient. This inside curb, very bouncy. Should see times in the 59s, maybe even the 58s. Depending how much time the front people can find. Right, Mr. L chicane braking. Sort of started the red and white curb there. Do you want to take some of the inside curb for the first part? Open up the corner. Take the inside curb to try and get on throttle as hard as you can. Carry as much speed out of the chicane. And so keep the car to the left-hand side, shortest distance. You don't want to run too much of the inside curb there. The car will bottom out and it will push you wide. Gonna try bringing the brake back a little bit. I do tend to just slightly lock front tires around here on the default setup, like that. Alright, seeing people in low 59s, yeah, we'll definitely see 58s. Not quite able to get that sub 2 minute lap yet. Surprised that wasn't a cut. Seems like you can take a lot of that first apex carb. Certainly more than you can take on ACC. Ooh, there's a bit of rear locking. Oh, that's not ideal. We are on limited tires. So we don't want to be making too many mistakes like that. Yeah, so with the they're being served a little bit more tire wear with the LMP3s now. I can feel a slight flat spot on these tires. Might be a little bit difficult to improve, but I'm sure we can find some time. These long right-handers really do eat away at the left-hand side tires. That was very nice. Rear locking wasn't a problem in the practice. I'm struggling with it quite a bit now. Anyway, final flying lap. As I said, might be difficult to improve. with the state of the tyres. Or if I just get a track cut. We need to find at least 8 tenths if we want to get into the top 10. Not the greatest line through the chicane. Did find a couple of tenths. Just getting on throttle a little bit too early. A little too quick into the final corner. Compromised the exit. Keep the car straight to the line. It's only 14th. So yeah, 58.2 is fastest time. Would not call that a good qualifying session. Certainly had a little bit of time in it. But I don't think I would have gone to the 58s. Only 3 cars gone to the 58s. It is pretty close from 4th down to, let's say 11th is just over 2 tenths. So that's 8 cars. With just over 2 tenths separating them. Okay, we're about currently 3 tenths off that mark, but we know we've more pace than that. Now I want to see. I haven't done any fuel calculating.
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a race start.
Okay, new tires. Fuel. I want to set this down to. It'll be about 28 litres we'll need at the pit stop. Expecting the race to be about 45 laps. Might be 44 with the pit stop and traffic. Well, quality pace was into the 58s. Race pace is going to be more 59s. And then, as I said, we've got traffic. We've got the pit stop. So I don't see it being 46 laps. But yeah, we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Yeah, 14th, much further back than is expecting. But hopefully, that will give us an interesting race. started speeding up like, oh yeah, nice, time to catch up, and then is like, nope, slow down again. So, as a reminder, this is race being run by SRL. We've done races with them in the past, including the LMP3 and GT3 Championship. And LMP2 Championship we did not too long ago. Start procedure is ran at 50 kilometers per hour rather than the game's normal 60 kilometers per hour. Thank you, Eddie. Good luck for your own race. I know you're doing.
Green flag, green flag.
Let me go for the start. Good start from the car in front. I feel like this could be a messy T1. Surprisingly clean for how chaotic that was. Just all the cars in different places. Ah, there's one car off. Right, we're up to P11. Oh, you're not racing. I thought you were. That was half a track limit point. Yeah, that's definitely telling you, don't do that again. Quite a few cars running out wide there. We're going to try and snip up the inside. It's going to be the outside for this long left-hander. Big stab trying to put the power down. Yeah, that corner being off camber makes it so difficult to be on the outside. Messed up that second apex a lot. That was very crowded. You know, you're putting a lot of trust in everyone to leave each other space, not to stick a nose where it doesn't belong. But you're fighting for position. I locked the front right. Car behind is a DT. That's unfortunate for them. Going to make for a very difficult race. Having to get through the GT3s. That was scary. Car spinning off the exit curb. of the long left-hander. Was unsure if the car was gonna roll back across the track, so just wanted to get through the gap that was there while it was there. Alright, let's see if we can close up on the cars in front. Into the top 10 now with that. A little bit of a gap to the cars behind. Yellow flag, I think, for an instant behind. Things starting to spread out now. Still not great line through that chicane. Just running it too tight into the right-hander. Really difficult to see where the apex is with the A-pillar. Car in front making a mistake. Thought they were entering the pits for a moment. Just ran really wide. Lost one position already. They've barreled their way into the first chicane, left themselves very vulnerable on the exit, so vulnerable. We'll pick up that position quite easily. I think we're just about out of slipstream range. Up to P9 now. There's GT3, and again, I've got that right-hander wrong. Actually do come into the pits this time around. Those little markers on the inside T1 are gone. Makes it a bit difficult to see where the apex is. There isn't really anything that denotes it. and try and close up on the car in front again. Try and get into slipstream. Just see if they can help drag us along to the group in front, hopefully. Rear end stepping out, trying to put the power down. Out of the chicane. Across the curb. Bit of a better lap there. Someone's taken the 100 board at T at first braking zone. Only 11 minutes into the race. That chicane still felt messy, but we didn't get a snap of oversteer on the exit, which made it a little bit quicker. Lets us away with that running wide. Alright, starting to feel a bit of understeer through some of the right-handers. Car in front is ever so slowly closing up to the cars in front. So we're up to P7 now from a car being off at turns 3, 4, 5. But I can't imagine we'll hold on to that position for too long. I'm surprised that didn't ping. It was threatening to, but decided not to in the end. So at this point we're kind of hoping that when the car in front of us catches the car in 5th, that they fight each other, slow each other down, and allow us to close into that battle as well. Gotta be really careful with the rotation on the inside curb. Oh, I thought you applied the throttle while you're on it. And just clip the inside curb there. That car facing the wrong way. Oh, and then that car's putting a good time now in 5th. That bounced off that curb quite a bit. Surprised that wasn't a track them. Didn't get any track limit points for that. GT3 car up ahead. say I turned in too early there in the inside curb, just pushed us out. That's unfortunate. Cost us a bit of time to the cars in front. Can't really say cost us time to the car behind. They also had to avoid it. I think they'll probably get us at some point this lap. The game will really threaten you here, Paul Ricard, it seems. But then decide, you know what, we'll not bother giving you the points. We'll let you off with it. Oh, car behind went for a big slide. Okay, we're getting closer and closer to more GT3 traffic. Yeah, not a fan of that turn 1 curb. Track limits seem a bit whatever. I think you can actually say that with a few of the corners here. It seems like they've tried to base it off the they'll track limit markers that you would have seen during qualifying around the track. But the problem is, as you see now in the race, none of them, all of them have been hit off. Oh, there's one there on the inside of the chicane. Car behind made a mistake again. So that car quick, but just errors. I think they've kind of got into that thing of scrap and floor again. Of they've had a couple of ones, they've had a spin, they've had another moment, and they've just kind of ruined the tire. And they're really struggling to be consistent now. I went round the way I'm supposed to. I lost a second, and I still get track limit points. But there was another car off there, and so to fight that mistake, we're up to P6. So we're about halfway through our track limit warnings. Now GT3s absolutely aren't flat through the first right-hander. Nice lock up for the car in front into the final corner. Again, that went yellow, threatening to be like, right, here's track limit points, and then just disappeared. There goes the car in front. And us now into P5. Not a very deserved 5th place, but 5th place nevertheless. GT3 was a bit slower through chicane than I thought we'd be. Trying to spot where that apex is. That GT3 in the way. Oh, that's very awkward. Very difficult to have enough of a pace difference to make that move. Yeah, that is one of the things that changed with the update, is the sort of peaks in temperatures aren't meant to be as egregious or as notable. I'll be honest, I don't expect it to really change the experience I've had so far in the LMP3. But what I'm hoping for is, remember the LMP2s, just how, you know, every so often there'd be a random moment and you're like, and they were so difficult to explain. I'm hoping that maybe that's where we're going to notice the effect, and the LMP2 cars will be a little bit more forgiving. Oh yeah, that too might help. That's a good shout. Yeah, this is the only combination I've driven so far. Since the update. So it's hard to... I have no reference of what... or it's not that I don't have any reference, it's the reference I have to the previous update isn't... is skewed by it technically being different cars at different tracks. There's too many variables to really be like, okay, right, this is the real difference I'm feeling. That's much easier that time. One of the cars behind pitting. They should be able to get to the end of the race. Feels more consistent. Yeah, I'd expect it to feel more consistent with the changes they've mentioned. Acceleration. Oh, nice look up. Oh, now this is a fight for position. Oh, I can feel there is definitely a flat spot. On that front left. Not going to be close enough to get the Mustang here. Mustang held a tighter line there than I was expecting them to. Upped it against the dive, which probably a good idea. How tight can get on the apex. That was scary. had a little bit of a front lock up, and then the rear started to let go. So I'm just scrabbling for grip, trying not to run into them. Thankfully, they did open up the steering. They seen on the radar me having a wobble there and just give me a little bit more room than I needed. You know, great awareness from them. Yeah, I don't think I have the tires really to compete. I think I've just kind of worn them out. Yeah, there is a little vibration there, not even on the straights. Oh, nice front left lock up. I'm considering if I should change the brake bias backwards a little bit. But then I'm sort of thinking of the moment I had in qualifying, and I've seen other people replicate. Car in front having a little lock up there, and I did too. Just snatching the front left. Yeah, at least around this track, for me at least, the tire wear is a little bit more. Car gets slower over a stint, rather than what was sort of seen with the ELMC series, where it was getting faster over a stint. The fuel burn giving more lap time than worn tires was taking away. I'm surprised that was a track limit there, considering I feel like I've got away with more. Just not quite gonna get to this Corvette. Can't make a dive move there to the inside, but it just feels rude and awkward. Again, another GT3 that just ran much tighter there than I thought they would. Maybe that's just the line the GT3s need to take. Oh, car spun on the inside. So we're going to hold on to P6 a little bit longer. I have to make sure I don't mess up the pit entry with these tires. So much understeer now. Okay, game seems to have harshened up on that left-hander. Leading GT3 car just in front. Must be around about the GT3 pit window, I imagine. That seemed a lot easier than it was on some of the other cars. As I said last lap, The car's getting so much understeer now that even when you're sort of trying to pick up the throttle, the car's pushing more outward and understeering rather than sort of having the rear wheels slip and the car rotating more. We're slipping off the T2 curb there. I'm afraid camming things a little bit awkward there. Ooh! Car behind tried to follow me through on the inside of the BMW, but was just too late. The BMW was already turning in for the second apex. And they came together. That means, again, we're going to hold on to P6 for a bit longer. Yeah, this has been... So, including this lap, we have 9 laps of fuel. So it'll be 8 at the end of this lap. So we will get to 35. Race is currently looking like a 44 lap race, but it could be 45. I think it will be 45. As a line. Remember, there are a couple of P3s that have already made their pit stops. So I think I'm going to change left-hand side tires to the pit stop. But we need a good end to this stint to try and make sure we have about 5 seconds to the car behind. Okay, car behind just did 59. Don't think I'm making that 5-second gap. Not unless they have a moment, which could happen. Quite a few have happened this race already for people around us. GT3 on a night lap here. Don't know if they have new cold tires or old but warm tires. They're gonna let us have the apex there, which is a little bit annoying because it was unpredictable. Wasn't quite close enough to go for a dive there. So let's go hold back, but then they left the door open, so it's like, right, I've got to take this. You know, if they're going to go wide and leave the door open for me, it'd be rude not to take the space. I will say, I think the gap on the relative has been a little bit inaccurate through the third sector. It sort of seems to be coming down in the third sector and then going back up when we get, after we've sort of gone through the first couple of corners. And car behind is a DT. That changes things. So again, it looks like we're going to stay in P6 for a bit longer. Now, I think I might pit one lap early. Maybe I should pit a couple of laps early to make more use of new tires. all sorts of wrong. Go pit now, because if we leave it too long, we won't have time to make use of new tyres. So new left-hand side tyres. We would definitely not make the time up if we put 4 new tyres. Well, a little bit of traffic though. Might not be ideal. I forgot to... Forgot to take it a bit easy in that braking zone with the new tyres. Definitely cost myself a bit of time there. Right, that's a bad out lap. C-car's still a little bit unstable. Now we're going to need to be about half a second a lap quicker once we get the tyres up to temperature for them to have really been worth it. Technically a little more than that with the time we lost on that out lap. Careful with that inside curb. Oh, that looks like a lot of GT3s in front. Now this P2 still has to pit. So they're gonna let us go. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's why I've not been going for that move, because it's just awkward. Shouldn't have gone for it there. Apex in there somewhere. Should see people in the pits now. Some people have gone 36 laps. There's someone coming out in front of us that was behind us. Yeah, I can see a couple of names in front coming out of the pits that we were ahead of. The cool tires plus the traffic has hurt us. Car in front, I think, is going to be into the pits at the end of this lap, but not letting the car just out of the pits go easily. Oh, that's annoying. The game's like, oh yeah, you're fine, you're fine. Actually, hang on a sec, you're not fine. We've changed our mind. Car's going for pit lane, has had a spin going for pit lane. It's a tricky pit entry. You think, oh, you know, you just, you know, carry speed, you go wide through the corner and you're in pit lane, but it's like, no, you've got to take a very narrow line. That's very easy to mess up. And even if you do go wide, you very easily get a that was close with the Mustang. I was going to see if I could try and undercut this P3 here with them being sort of put offline by the Mustang. I braked just a little bit too late there. Because usually I use the curb on the right hand side for my braking point. But of course, it was obstructed by the P3. So it was just to do whatever needed to be done to not cause an incident there. More cars in the pit. I'm surprised there's cars that have gone 37 laps. I guess they were fuel saving. So we're in P9. Race is going to be a 45 lap race. Despite saying it could be 44, could be 46 laps at one point. We did call that one correctly. You look how much faster we're going now with 2 new tires. Kind of tells you just how bad oh, there's one car still pit, and one car has a drive-through. I'll be honest, this GT3 is not making this easy. Okay, right, they're wide now. I expected them to have a bit more acceleration coming off the final corner, but I think they started to spin the rear wheels. And so braked, maybe, or at least completely lifted off to not hit the... to not tag, because they came very close to tagging the P3 in front of us. And then, so that backed them up into me. And I'm just trying to use my new tires to get a good exit. And then, they seem to carry all the speed through turns 1 and 2. So I was like, oh, they'll not be that slow into turn 3. Nope, got that one wrong. Has annoyingly cost us a good few seconds. Because with these new tires, we definitely have the pace to fight for P6 again. But yeah, traffic has not been kind, unfortunately, in this stint. I mean, unless the two cars in front start fighting each other. Potential for it. 5 laps to go. Tell you this time, we're not catching the car in front unless they slow each other down. New fastest lap. I think that lap's actually faster than what we did in qualifying. Still not enough to get into sub 2 minutes. Just over half second separates the two cars in front. So I think next lap they could start fighting. definitely range of having a fight now. Looking for an overtake into the chicane. We need them to run side by side if we want them to cost each other time. Looks like just settled back into line. Do you have a couple of GT3 cars? 3 GT3 cars, even. Looks like that GT3 car caused a couple of issues. Can see 2 more just going into the first chicane there. We got quite lucky there. Unfortunately, the GT3s have kind of spread the 2 cars out. So while they're losing time from the GT3s, they're not losing time to each other anymore. Two laps to go. Just a few tenths separate them two. We're about 1.5 seconds back. Cut the first apex a little too much, so just had to lift a little to make sure we didn't get track limit warning. We are 0.5 point off a drive through, so can't really afford any risk. It's certainly not worth any risk. Right, they've definitely got to be close enough. Ooh, defensive move. Side by side through the chicane, and they're still side by side. Like that rubbing bodywork. Let's head down to the long right-hander here, still rubbing bodywork through it. And there's one more GT3 car. Oh, they really backed up on Apex there. Oh, current front's wide. Contact between the two of them. And somehow we end up ahead of both of them. Final lap. Looks like they're going to continue to fight over P6. We've now taken P5 somehow. It's not over yet. We've got a 2-second lead. They're side by side again as they came onto the straight. So yeah, for a race that we spent most of the time thinking, right, we're about to lose P6 here. Oh, never mind, that car's made a mistake. Guess we'll hold on to it a little bit longer. A pit strategy that didn't really go to plan. I think it was the right decision in the end, but a mistake on the outlap, traffic, meant that we lost a bit more time than I thought we were going to. Lost us more track position than thought we were. Through other people's mistakes, once again, not only have we regained, we haven't got back up to P6, we've managed to progress to P5. And there we go. Of course now, with the update, we get to do a cooldown lap. I'm not sure we're going to make the cooldown lap. Yeah, I certainly wasn't quick that race. Certainly not quick. But everyone else made mistakes. So they did. I'm not going to risk cutting through the chicane just in case. Hello, Dave. Just finished our race. I'm seeing if I can hypermile the car back to pits. Oh, never mind. Server's going to shut first. Yeah, still not a lot of overtime on that. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, the GT3s and LMP3s are so close around there. It does get awkward. Especially when you also have the range of driver experience. You know, some GT3s are going in a bit quicker. That, you know, means that, oh, you have to carry more speed. You have to be quicker if you want to get the move done on them. But then if you try and do that with some of the slower ones, you just go into the back of them. Quite difficult. Yeah, entertaining race. Overall, was good fun. Yeah, did not have the pace, but look, everyone else getting involved in either instance or mistakes. Yeah, got us that top 5. You just finished the Onid social round in the LMP3. So how did that go? I know that's only a 60-minute race. So that would have been a no-stop race. So yeah, how did that go? All went well. Finished P3. Very well done. Congrats on the podium. Ben Cricks ran away with it. Yeah, you tend to get that in races. I mean, was Gibbo's there, um, part of the LMU team, ran away with that race. But 158 flat. Yeah, well, you'd open setups. We were on fixed setups. So our quali time was a low 58.2, if I remember correctly, but race pace was low 59s. But yeah, the yeah, LMP3s, they're certainly you ran the fixed race bit. You were doing about 2 minute flat. Yeah, that's what a lot of people were doing in this race. But yeah, one of the big things LMP3s are the tires are a lot more similar to the LMP2s and the GT3s in sense of they're not as awful when they're cold, when they're just out of the pits as they used to be. There's not so much understeer that you got, and they were a little bit quicker. They don't last as long. So actually making a pit stop in a shorter race when you don't have tire warmers is a bit more feasible. Or changing tires, yeah. Whereas previously, uh, I mean, we were doing 80-minute races, and it's like, yeah, you wouldn't ever have come close to thinking because you would have lost if you changed all four tires, you would have lost 30 seconds with new tires. I don't think it's quite gonna be 30 seconds. I think it'll be more like 20 seconds. And then what you gain from having new tires is going to be a little bit more because people on worn tires, those tires are going to be a little bit more worn, a little bit slower. Jen is like a big go-kart. Yeah, I assume the Ligier, the other LMP3, feels similar to um, with the tires being changed. Haven't tested it yet, so I'm just assuming. But yeah, I can't imagine there being because there sort of did feel like maybe once the cars are up to speed, it's like yeah, sort of. The Gen S certainly did what I expect the LMP3 and was expecting having driven the Ligier. First time you've driven LMP3, so you can't compare. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean that's my first time driving the Ginetta, and I've only driven it at Paul Ricard, and I haven't driven the Ligier at Paul Ricard or on the new tires yet. So, um, yeah, a little bit hard to make. There's no direct comparisons. But yeah, it was quite interesting. It'll be fun when we get the new variants of Paul Ricard too. Good feeling we're going to get a variant without the chicane, which will certainly be interesting. It'll really increase fuel usage as long as we have fun. Yeah, that's a good fun race. It's nice to have battles. It's certainly an interesting end. I mean, we've liked a little bit more. There was a bit more of a fight at the end there in the last few laps, rather than just a one moment and oh, that's it. We're through for P5 and we don't look back. But yeah, that's the way racing goes sometimes. Certainly not more interesting than the race I had on Monday. Had that social at Le Mans, we had 9 minutes of Le Mans hypercars and GT3 cars, as in no man's land for all but the first 10 minutes of it. It was so incredibly boring. So glad I didn't stream that race. Someone in yours got the Seagull of Doom. Huh? The Seagull of Doom? Two P3s. Two podiums. Good going. No, I haven't heard of the Seagull. Oh, was that not in the because there was a hot fix a little earlier today. Fixed crash relating to Seagull 01 loading Paul Ricard mesh, which has missing animation. So I guess that crash isn't fixed. That or they didn't download the hotfix. In which case, that's their own fault. But yeah. It'd be funny if instead of crashing the game, the Seagull just fell out of the sky and landed on a windscreen and you just couldn't see out of it. Is that fixed? That's the patch notes for the hotfix that came out earlier today. It's just that fixed that crash. It said fixed missing Spanish user interface translation and fixed intermittent UI error pop up on practice server. I mean, it could very well be a case of it isn't fixed. You know, they think they fixed it, but there's actually something else causing it that they didn't quite get first time round, and they'll need a second hotfix for that, and maybe a couple of other things that they say, like the emoji. Yeah. But yeah, wouldn't be too surprised to see another hotfix, because we did have not just a couple of hotfixes, but we also had a couple of patches in the previous update. So yeah, we'll probably get another couple of patches and hotfixes between now and the next DLMS pack, which will probably be, I think it's around February it's slated for. Let me just double check. Oh wow, log games I have updated today. LMU store page. LMS season pass. It just says Q1. First quarter of next year, so yeah, looks like it could be late February at the earliest, maybe, if not March, probably. But yeah, of course, we'll be getting the final LMP3. Which I can't remember what the final LMP3 is. But we'll also be getting Circuit Barcelona Catalunya. Hopefully in that update we'll also be getting the different layouts, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have to wait another month or two for them. I would not be too surprised if that ends up being the case. because they haven't said, at least from what I've seen, they haven't said specifically, right, here's when the new track variants are coming out. They've just said sort of, oh yeah, once all of the ELMS packs are out, then we'll add it, which kind of makes it sound like it's going to be afterwards rather than alongside. Um, um, but yeah, that is nearly 10 o'clock and going for a couple of hours. As again, good fun race, good couple of battles in that. Some multi-class chaos as to be expected. Um, but yeah, good fun. We'll be back again on Friday where we have the second round of the RCI multi-sprint series. We're going to be at Portimao in the Aston Martin GT3 this weekend. It was certainly a bit of a struggle. Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle at Silverstone when we got murdered. So yeah, didn't finish that race, unfortunately. Hopefully, Ricard's calm it down a little bit, especially with how technical Portimao is. And hopefully we don't get killed by one of them this time. But yeah, if things haven't changed, it could be another could be another unforced adventure or assisted adventure, perhaps, is a better way to put it. Depending on how those hypercar drivers are. I'm a little worried, but yeah, we'll have to see. 80 minutes there. That stream will be starting around 7 p.m. We'll have, again, as last week, a little bit of practice. The qualifying session, they'll break between qualifying and the race. And hopefully we survive all 80 minutes around Portimao. Hopefully have a little bit more pace, but after tonight, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think there's gonna be any extra pace. But yeah, that's gonna be it next Friday, and then there may be a bonus streams. I've got a couple of ideas for bonus rally streams. I want to do some more Cell Course rally after the first impressions. Try and get some of the medals on it in sort of the little events that they've set up, where you can earn medals. There's 107 of them. So yeah, we'll stream on that. And there's a couple of other little arcade rally games I tried early this year or late last year. Old School Rally being one of them. Hashtag Drive Rally was another. They've had updates throughout the year, so I can't want to go back and give them another go on stream. Have a bit of fun, see how much they've improved. And yeah, have some fun. Take it a little bit easier on the sim racing over the Christmas period, since we have had quite a lot throughout the year. But yeah, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Eddie, for popping by and chatting a bit. I hope you both, well, Dave, well done on your P3. Eddie, hope you enjoyed the race, and hope all you that were lurking too have enjoyed as well. Hopefully, I'll see you back on Friday as we go racing around Portimao in GT3s. But yeah, until then, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on Friday. Until then, have a good rest of your evening. Have a good Thursday and Friday. If I don't see you on Friday, have a good weekend. And yeah, until next time, take care. Bye bye.